Next to him is Aisha Waziri Umar, who is a co-convener of the Revive Nigeria group. Next to her is Mohammed Sani Musa of Activate Technology. The interesting thing about this third panelist is he is the one and his company is responsible for producing the permanent voters card which we use to vote, as well as the smart card reader which we use for our elections. And of course, to my immediate right, I have Honorable Farouk Yaba, who is the DG and the CEO of To Be Connected Nigeria. I think I should just start from my immediate right. Perhaps a good place to start, and they will make introductory remarks, is what kind of leadership does Nigeria need to prosper and accountable?
Very much to mobilize the people who were here before, discuss on the modalities of changing the status quo. It's very, very important we started that way. We also have to know when we change the status quo, what are the processes that we can bring to realize the immediate changes we are looking for. We have manifestos normally. We also have incremental promises by politicians all the time. But when they get there, the changes are not there. So what we are demanding for at this stage is, in as much as we are looking for a change, we must also scrutinize those that promise to deliver the change. It's incontestable to see that each and of course in ideology. And it also signifies that the world, globally, we are looking for a different leadership. But emerging leadership should add strengthening our institutions so that we don't just rely on individual leaders. We don't think leadership is given. This is the way, I think, and the approach we should deploy. Strengthening our democratic institutions, of course, a democracy, issue of strengthening accountability and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable Tony, you sponsored Not Too Young to Run. Was it driven by a conviction that young people can give us that innovative, responsive, and accountable leadership?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And I also want to welcome the guests. You know, for me, sponsoring the Not Too Young to Run bill, I feel it was, I wouldn't say it was timely. I want to believe that we're actually chasing behind time. And truth is that it should have been there. The crafters of our Constitution probably did not understand the role of the Nigerian youths or youths in general. And for me, it's some form of disenfranchisement and also making the youths, they do not qualify to be voted for. Executive concerning this bill, they're not too young to run. And, well, I feel to run.
Mike Ogiado pass of when ministers in labor, unions and everybody, you could, students, anything, corridors of power, national committee, go too much in.
They have been in technology using till when technology
go home to change your clothes, another person has been declared a winner. Those are part of the things. For the young people, we've also had these situations. I don't know any political party that has a mentorship program. I've watched most of them, including my own party, PDP. You see, the young people, the young people are only good for election period. You come in, they use them, and for those people that always want to collect 1,000 naira, 2,000, 5,000 during election day, you collect that money, and that is the reason why you've remained unemployed. Because you collect the money, you vote in incompetent people that have paid you, and they believe they've paid you. And you go about crying, there's unemployment, there's poverty.
In Yabo Shagari Federal Constituency. Before we went into that election in Sokoto, we had a merger between ANPP and PDP. That was how I left my ticket to a cousin of mine, Aminu Shagari. He's still in the National Assembly. But immediately after who is part of the national team, we also got Usman Mohammed. We have also at social media, I tell you, the young people are in charge, regardless of the...
Understand it, reason error, and you vote, and it ends there. But
those materials don't get to the location. So, what is the plan to mitigate against such issues?
My question on this aisle.
My name is Victor Mbakwe.
It will count. The gentleman that asked about the movement of
village, and then use that one or two. So people...
Mr. Joseph, I'd like to welcome also on stage here, Mr. Sentel Barnes. Place an earpiece, try and contact me outside.
To make it quite clear that we do not want a military rule. We want an entrepreneurial state that is open. The best, which is the bread.
I've been on the ground working.
People who were just one-time senator and they became
99. Thank you.
Speakers respond to the questions. Now, Mr. Busha he wanted me to clarify the question that was put to him, right? And then, if I heard the gentleman correctly, he was wondering, said, look, what was the basis of, say, the independence movement in Zimbabwe? Was it really just the allure of democracy? And he said, well, he has issues with democracy. Is not necessarily tied to democracy. So he wanted to know from you what was the consideration in Zimbabwe. Am I correct? Am I correct? Thank you very much. So this was his question. Well, so we'll let Mr. Barnes. Do you want to go first, please? But keep it, please, very short. Thank you.
I'll use the podium so you can see me. So I'll start with the last question and work my way up. What I've observed about the ideology and internal party democracy here in Nigeria. The one thing that I have noticed that's different from the US is that for Nigeria, the internal workings of the party, especially primaries, are really dealt with the party, which means it now becomes a closed process. So in the US, our party primaries are held by the election body. So like our state level INEC holds primaries. So it doesn't restrict people. So legitimately, I can move home tomorrow and then decide to run for office if I fit the rules and regulations. So in that aspect, it becomes challenging because then the parties here are very exclusive on who can take tickets, who can move in. So it's a real win in Nigeria.
Leadership and followership is shared responsibility. Look at what has happened. What happened in 2015 in Nigeria? The first time in our political history, you have an incumbent government that was shown the way out because the people felt we had had enough. And more recently in Zimbabwe, it has happened. 37 years. The sentiments didn't matter anymore. At that point, the people said, well, President Mugabe, thank you, but no thanks. You must leave. And in spite of the shenanigans, eventually what happened? He left. But the people had to rise up and say enough was enough. And so, sovereignty will always reside with the people. If we believe that we need to change the status quo, which is really what this is about, then we must really, really rise up and change the status quo. It's not about really pontificating. It's not about blaming anybody. You've got to stand up. Get involved in the political process. Register to vote. Go back to where you belong and register to vote because, like someone else said here, every politics is local. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, I'd like to thank the speakers and again, thank the organizers. We're going to wait for the next session. Thank you very much.
One more time, please can we put our hands together for panelists? And very importantly, because you have waited this long, please put your hands together for yourselves. Never before have I seen such hunger in young people to be responsible for their nation. Please put your hands together for yourselves one more time. Thank you very much. One more session. Yes. All right, very quickly, I'm going to call the panelists for the next session. But before I do that, let me call the moderator for this session. This session is about mobilizing resources for actualizing generational shift. We're talking about generational shift, and you agree with me that a lot of resources are needed. How do we mobilize resources, the needed resources? It doesn't have to be money. It could be our service. It could be our education. It could be our skill. That's the resource that is needed for this actualization. Okay, I'd like to bring up the national chairman of ANRP, Mr. Tokwe Fashua. If you're here, please come up. Please put your hands together for him. Also, I'd like you to put your hands together and make welcome the DG of Nigeria First Project, architect Iya Nya Etok. You're welcome, sir. I'd like to bring up somebody that is very dear to my heart. He's a former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and also the former Minister of State for Health, Dr. Idi Young. You're welcome, sir. Next, I'll be bringing up another former Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Nuruddin Muhammad. Please put your hands together for him. Again, I'd like to bring up a leading voice as far as media is concerned, the CEO of Ben TV, Mr. Alista Shoyode. You're welcome, sir. Then I'd like to bring up the Group MD of Focal Point Group, Mr. Alaji Hassan Riowan. Please put your hands together for him. You're welcome, sir. We're young people. Our hands who don't have rheumatism yet. Come on, put your hands together for our panelists. Are you enjoying yourself? Are you not having fun? Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to bring up the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Social Investment, Barrister Ismail Ahmed. If you're here, please come up. Please put your hands together for him. I'd like to bring up Dr. Ibrahim Dauda. He's the DG, Sahelian Center for Leadership and Development. Please put your hands together for him. And then I'd like to bring up my friend and my brother, Mr. Muritala Yaradua. Please put your hands together for him. Okay, I think some of them are outside and some of them will join us. At this point, let me hand over to the moderator, Mr. Sasu Igbenedion.
Hello? Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Awesome. So first of all, this panel would cover mobilizing resources for actualizing generational shift. So I've written a little piece just to explain what that means to every single one here. So it's true that funds are very critical to the proper and effective functioning of democratic political process and politics. Without funds, it would be absolutely difficult for political parties to articulate their ideas and visions to the public, and without which the electorates cannot make informed choices during elections. Unfortunately, party campaigns in most African countries are fraught with despicable levels of corruption. Granted that some efforts have been made to reform laws regulating political campaigns and party funding, campaign financing and their abuses still remain shrouded in mystery. To checkmate the fundraising activities of political parties, the 1999 Constitution and other regulatory laws, such as the 2002, 2006, and 2010 Electoral Acts, all have explicit provisions which guide not just the funding of political parties, but clearly espouse the maximum spending limits of campaign finances for candidates for every political office. Limits of contributions individuals and corporate organizations could make to a candidate. And lastly, requires political parties to submit separate audited reports of campaign expenses to INEC 6 months after an election. The 2010 Act does not only grant INEC the power to place a limit on the amount of money or other assets which an individual or group of persons can contribute to a political party. It also stipulates spending limits to candidates, which you can see in Section 90, subsection 1. For instance, Section 91, subsection 2 of the same Act puts the spending limits for presidential candidates at 1 billion naira, while candidates for governorship elections are required to spend not more than 200 million naira. The senators and members of the House of Representatives are meant to spend 40 million and 20 million respectively, while members of the State House of Assembly are not meant to spend more than 10 million. So how many people believe we follow this act to the T in this country? Okay, so that's the problem. And the onus falls on both our legislators and INEC. So I would like our panelists to introduce yourselves and tell me, do you believe financing or capacity is the major issue in the electoral process? Which comes first, the ability to finance your campaign or your capacity? I'll start with you.
No, a village man cannot handle this. So my name is Hassan Ralwan. I'm the Group Managing Director of Focal Point Group. I'm happy to be here, and I thank the organizers of this wonderful stuff. So essentially, I think for me, it's a function of capacity first. Because when the capacity is right, I believe the finances will, will be better coordinated. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
Use this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. Okay. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Okay. Hi. Testing? Hello. Okay. Good. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alistair Shiode. I'm from a rural village in the northern part of Nigeria, but somehow I migrated to the United Kingdom. Ended up going there because of the negative perception of my dear country called Nigeria, where people believe that everything that we do is totally, not every time, correct. And basically, I just trying to change the story from that black people and Nigerian are not as people think they are, negative, criminally minded. And then I went up there, set up the first black TV station called Ben Television in order to begin to change our story. And that's who I am. Now, I'm fully a passionate Nigerian. I'm wearing the uniform which doesn't reflect the company I was introduced with because I do mentorship. Mentorship in the sense that that is what Nigeria, for me, lacked. Mentorship to produce and galvanize the next generation. People talk about the leaders, and indeed we have heard what the leaders are all about. People who just want to be there, but they don't have the leadership qualities. Nevertheless, we're now talking about the question our moderator asks is if the political party are actually following due process in their expenses. Now, all of them, 98% of them, actually did not submit their account at the end of their election. Then how can you, in your normal sense, look at parties that refuse to honor the simple rule of law, being able to govern and lead and provide the good leadership you desire? There is no way that is going to happen. Going forward, as a person for me, I look forward to believing that Nigeria under the previous administration has something called transformation. In the present administration, you have something called change. And the coming administration, you have something called evolution. Thank you.
Sorry, 1 second. Mr. Alistair, let me give you an opportunity to answer the question. The question was, finance or capacity, which comes first in the electoral process?
Thank you very much. Finance is very important, but the electoral process is the most important thing. Because the process basically allows the parties to determine what they need to do, and the process allow each and every one to make recommendation and more or less make a presentation on what and how the party and how the election process should take place. So the finance is just part of the electoral process.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am Dr. Ali Idihong, former minister. Madam, it's very difficult to first, because in American system they say that money in politics is just like the mother's milk. The truth about it is that nobody who has ever been elected in this country will tell you that he has financed his electioneering processes by himself. When you show the capability, when you are in the right place at the right time, you will get helpers. But you have to build the person, you have to build the capability, you have to show that you are capable and you have the right network. That is how you will get support. But you have to start on your own first.
Hello. My name is Yaitok Ezekiel. I always add I'm an architect because I worked for that 6 hard years. I was a one-time governorship aspirant of the PDP in my state. I also became the Pioneer National and the co-founding chairman in the very first party that the young people could see as their own. And then somewhere along the line, we may discuss that as time goes by, I became non-partisan, political, and I became the Director General of the Nigeria First Project. Which comes first? Definitely not money. If it was money, Jonathan should be the president of Nigeria today because APC did not have more money than PDP. I can say that for a fact. So what comes first is capacity before money. And let me state that talking about campaign funding, only 2 parties submitted their audited report for 2015. Young Democratic Party, where I was the national chairman, was one of the 2 parties out of all of them.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to us all, and thanks for staying this long. My name is Tope Fasho. I'm National Chairman, ANRP, that's Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party. I'll just call us Abundant Nigeria Party for short. I was going to make a protest. They always put me in these afternoon, midnight sessions in some of these meetings, you know. However, this is a great crowd that has managed to stick around till now. They saved the best for last. Okay, thank God. So basically, well, talking about money or capacity, one would probably want to interrogate what exactly does capacity mean, from what perspective are we looking at it. But I want to take it that capacity, you are now talking about what do you want to deliver, you know, the ability to deliver, the ability to be a leader from every perspective as has been defined here today. Are you someone who's going to be making impact? You know, that's the capacity, you know, that you want. However, it takes a little bit more than that. In the very complicated age that we live in now, the real leader must be a communicator, all right? You must also be ready to lead by example. You must be able to lead with the urgency of now, among other things. And you have to be dynamic as well. You have to be modern. So if you have this kind of capacity, which is the capacity we need in Nigeria, you know, then money is kind of secondary. What we have done in ANRP, and our regulator was right behind me not long ago from INEC, you know, we're going to be announced very soon. We've done everything that we need to do. What we have done in ANRP to say, listen, let's come together as young and not so young people. And we're not discriminating. We want also old people to join us. But the party is run mainly by fairly young people. I'm not that young anymore. I've got this white beard and so on. You know, so we said, listen, we know we're never going to maybe 5 billion or something like that. That it was kind of false to say that people use money to prosecute a lot of these things. On the ground in the villages, people are spending 500 naira. In the election in Anambra that just concluded, we heard some guy sent me an inbox on Facebook that a certain party was trying to buy the election papers from him for 500 naira a piece, though he had a lot of them. But that's 500 naira a piece. So on the ground, what you find is actually peanuts being deployed to these people who are easily impressionable. However, but with a lot of honesty, I believe we can do a lot, and money should not be the issue. I think I'll stop there for now. Thank you
so much, Mr. Fashwa. So our panelists have said that capacity is more important than financing, but really, how realistic is this? Since the inception of our democracy in 1999, we all hear about the kingmakers and the godfathers who choose who the next politician or who the next president or governor is going to be. Am I right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's dig deeper into this issue. As Mr. Centel Barnes, who spoke before this panel, said, the electoral process, especially in the primaries, is very eager. Who will emerge in that primary process with your elections, with the stipulated
how to get funds to run elections, right? And especially either human.
where we were able to change government in 2000.
Your word, then they will say, and that's how they do it in the US. It's called signing a petition to say this is the guy that will represent us. Now to the specific question from a gentleman to me, the structure, he also asked about the structure. The structure is what it is, you know. It's a flat structure. We're no frills party. You want to join right now, you join. We get your data, we cultivate that.
Going to the rural areas where people haven't eaten. 1 minute. I know we have a lot to say, but unfortunately we ran out of time. And hopefully
educate and re-educate the population to be conscious of their civic right. Two, we need to organize, just like Minister have said, we are privileged few here. We need to expand this into a very large cells of political education. Either ideological, mentoring, telling people about their rights, about why they should vote, who type of candidate they should vote for. We have to have a pool of this piecemeal body of learned people, and including those who are in our rural areas. So from here today, we should try each one teach minimum of 10 people so that they understand what a political and civic education is all about. Organize yourself so that you will give strength to the young population of this country. You will begin from there. Then make sure that people have lifeline. Whatever hope you want to give anybody, if he is hungry, basic young people.
Well, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, again, gives me special, it's a special honor for me to confer this recognition on behalf of the Emerging Political Leaders Summit to Aisha Babangida, who, like her mother before her, is very much interested in the development of rural women. It's not all the time that you find successors being faithful to the dreams and then to the vision of their forerunners. But in this particular case, Aisha has continued, both as in her private capacity and also as former First Lady, to really invest her time and resources in catering to the welfare and the well-being of rural women. So we thank you for your support, and then thank you for the work you're doing for our country.
Thank you. Congratulations. At this point, I would like to invite Dr. Edie Hung, who will do the next set of a couple of presentations, as I invite Honorable Enefiok Udo Obong. Do we have? Okay.
Sorry, before you invite him, this is the only male Olympian in Nigeria. That's him.
Double Olympic gold medalist.
Double Olympic gold medalist.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the emerging leaders, I have the privilege and honor to present to you this medal of ambassadorial representation for you to continue to sell, promote, eat and drink generational change in leadership, in economic development, in knowledge-based training and everything that will bring young people to have confidence, to have self-awareness and also to build capacities to support, to have a very viable Nigeria that all of us will be proud of. Congratulations, Mr. Odo.
Mr. Udo Obong is asking me to remove the honorable. But actually, from the form filled by whoever the person who nominated you, he said Honorable Udo Obong. So just keep the honorable anyway. I have the pleasure at this point of inviting a very special person also to this event, to the success of this event, in person of Prince Donatus Okonkwo. If you check the program, you will see he is the chief facilitator of this very successful summit.
Yes. In case you don't know, he's the owner of Tetrazini chain. He has been a very strong supporter. In fact, he's the link between the EPL and Mr. Joseph Busha, and he has supported this event financially. I can say that and say that again. Thank you, Prince Donatus Okonkwo. One day you'll be governor of Anambra State.
Okay. Before Dr. Hong takes his seat, I would like to invite Honorable Ahmed Mohamed, if you are still in the house or if you are here at all. Okay. Please do forgive us for sake of our time. We are not taking the profiles. We have profiles of all the nominees, but time would not permit us. So, but I am aware that Honorable Ahmed is the Deputy Minority Leader, Majority Leader, Kogi State House of Assembly. So, thank you, sir, and thank you, Dr. Ong. And I'd like to invite Architect Nya Etok to do the next round of presentation. And there are just two of them. The others are not here. So I have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Samuel Zion. Oh, is that you coming from the top? Oh, can you jump from? Okay, I'll just call the next person, Honorable Olawumi Oyedeji. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, while this is going on, I'll just run through some of the other names. If you're here, please do indicate. We have Honorable Abubakar Suleiman. Honorable Abubakar Suleiman. We have Mr. Shola Giwa, and we also have Mr. Bayo Michael. We have Adamu Abdullahi. We have Mr. Adamu Abdullahi, and we have Dr. Ahmed Adamu. We have also Honorable Aminu Shagali, and we have Mr. Amation Mark. That's all.
Yeah, I think, yeah, this is the last person that I would like to call on Ajia Aisha Babangida. to give a response on behalf of all our ambassadors. And we would like all our ambassadors to come so that we can take a group photograph. Mr. Joseph Busha, Prince Donatus Okonkwo, please come so that we can have a group photograph while Ajia gives response on behalf of the ambassadors. Thank you.
Are we doing pictures first or
after your speech?
Oh.
You can do it.
So on behalf of everybody here, all the ambassadors, first of all, I'd like to seize this opportunity to thank EPL for what they have, even though you said it's to appreciate our efforts, but what it is right now is that you've given us a task. This is a duty, and I hope that you all will look at us and learn that it is not all about it's humanity. It's about life. It's about people. So we're not doing what we want, what we're doing just so that you can clap for us. We're doing it really from the bottom of our hearts. We believe that we can change the world, and we will keep trying that. So for putting us up here, EPL, where's Mr. Wale? Well, okay, there you are. We haven't met. For putting us up here, on behalf of each and every one of us, thank you very much. You have challenged us now. We need to do more than what we've been doing, and I appreciate that. And for everybody here, to the young people that are here, this is who you are. Please take it and realize that you can help yourselves, you can help your community, you can help the nation. You just have to look into yourself and take ownership of your country.
For Christmas, because our next meeting is going to be in March, and that's going to be 4 times bigger than this size. 4 times. The essence of emerging political leaders is to deepen leadership in Nigeria and in Africa. You know, the problem which we have, it's unexhaustible, of money. I mean, when Frank Jr. is talking about it again, it boils to money. In the last 4 days, I contested that election in Anambra State, and I was I was an APC aspirant during 26th of August. Our have a lot to contribute. God bless us. God bless you.
National anthem, please. National anthem.
At the count of 3, we'll take a national anthem. 1, 2, 3. must all obey to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. God bless us all.